I'm Chris Carter. I'm the Executive Director of the Office of Innovation and Entrepreneurship at the Schulich School of Business at York University, and this is Daniel.
Hi, everyone.
It's amazing when you've ascended to like a one-name basis like Daniel has in the last 90 days with all this amazing work. And Daniel, as you know, is the founder and CEO of ChaiTech, which is powering the accelerator as part of the Ontario Jewish Startup Network, which we're so proud to be here to introduce to you tonight. We're going to have the land acknowledgement, and then I'm going to turn over to Daniel for some welcome remarks, and we're going to get at it. You're going to meet some great people and some great companies. We acknowledge the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. Thank you. Now, Daniel, it's time to get at it. Tell them what you're thinking and what you've been up to.
And what they won. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the ChaiTech Startup Showcase, presented by the Ontario Jewish Startup Network, an innovative partnership between the JCC ChaiTech, Schulich School of Business, and the Ontario government. I'd like to express my gratitude to the entire team, Chris, Andrew, David, Marnie, Jared, Candace, Kelly, Lisa, and Karen, as well as our esteemed guests tonight, and we have many. First, I'd like to say our big thank you to the Ontario Minister of Labour, MPP David Piccini, Ontario Solicitor General, MPP Michael Kerzner, MPP Laura Smith, Roy DeVere, Director of Innovation at the Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Edith Shamir, Consul General of Israel in Toronto, Dean Detlev Zwick from the Schulich School of Business, Susanna Gajic-Bruya, York University Vice President of Advancement, Mike Katchen, CEO and co-founder of Wealthsimple, Eva Lau, co-founder and general partner of Two Small Fish Ventures, Lauren Epstein, venture partner of Storytime Capital, and finally Marie Chevrier, CEO and co-founder, of Sampler and ChaiTech's brand new entrepreneur in residence. Welcome, everybody. We're thrilled to be here with everyone tonight back at the beautiful Leah Posnan's Theater at the Prosman JCC with 300 plus of you tonight. It looks like there's standing room, so really popular, Chris. We need a bigger venue maybe. We're here to all celebrate the graduation of our first cohort. Our accelerator was 8 weeks in length. Everyone worked incredibly hard, and we had 36 incredible founders across 21 unique companies, and please engage with them outside. They're up to some pretty incredible things. And I certainly want to give a shout out to the 6 presenting startups tonight. Zach Gans from Tiny Ghost Studios, Calvin Benchimol of Crewscope, Anna Wolfman of Femunify, Karina Bershteyn of Elion Med, Jordan Wisenberg of Feet, and Josh Guttman of Sell at 9. These 6 incredible founders and their distinguished peers dedicated themselves to an immersive 8-week hybrid accelerator program akin to Founder School to help them become stronger leaders, build resilient teams, healthy cultures, and create thriving startups fully aware of the options and opportunities ahead of them to help them create global success stories. The accelerator, again, is dedicated to empowering early-stage Jewish founders and their co-founders with the tools and resources they need to create global successes right here in Ontario. And again, we're incredibly grateful to the Ontario government for their support of our program. Thank you. We're empowering these companies to fast-track their growth through peer collaboration, mentorship, and professional training. We take a bit more of a holistic approach, focusing on the founder, their team, and then their business. And post-graduation, after the initial 8 weeks, the founders receive an additional 6 months of thorough coaching and support, which includes access to our high-tech entrepreneurs in residence like Marie, networking events, and virtual workshops. So we're very excited for the journey ahead. And it definitely takes a village to build a company. So we're really grateful for everyone's involvement. And finally, the Ontario Jewish Startup Network, really active and innovative collaboration between ChaiTech, the JCC, Ontario Government, Schulich School of Business. we're dedicated to building a thriving tech ecosystem for Jewish founders and all Ontarians, involving investors and mentors to enhance the collaboration. And we very much believe that Ontario is the best place to build a business. These participants have honed their skills, refined their business models, launched their ventures into the world. Today, we come together to celebrate their accomplishments and their dedication they've shown throughout the program, and hopefully creating community leaders along the way. We look forward to witnessing and supporting their continued impact and achievements. Thank you, everyone, for being with us tonight.
Okay, we're going to give a couple quick shout-outs to a few people and then tell you about the night and how it's going to work. First of all, after the pitches, stay tuned. We'll still be continuing right through in one program with Michael Katchen, CEO and co-founder of Wealthsimple, fireside chat that Dan's going to do while the judges are out deliberating in the back and coming to their final decision. We want to give a big shout out to our special VIP guests that are here tonight. And what's really interesting is that when the judges take their micro breaks to do their scoring after each pitch, Dan is going to go out and do his best Phil Donahue or Oprah Winfrey, and he's going to interview some of them on Spotlight in the
You're aging
crowd.
yourself.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't. Yeah, someone shout out who the modern version of that is. So we're big thank you to all those special guests for being here tonight. We also want to give a big shout out right now. Let's hear it for the graduates of the first cohort ever. Woo! What was really amazing was to see, not only how fast this group learned and applied the knowledge that they were gathering and the success that they're already having as a group, but I was really touched to see how close they came together and how they supported each other and rallied around each other as the first cohort. And I think it says amazing things about what's going to happen next as we go along. We also want to give a special thank you to all the trainers and mentors who came out and did that work from all across the ecosystem. Both Jewish tech ecosystem leaders and allies from across the ecosystem who came out and spent countless hours working with the students. And we're happy to report that they've all signed up again to reprise their role, plus new mentors and trainers are signing up as well to get involved as we go forward. We also want to say a big shout out thank you to the semifinal judges who went through the process of getting to the final six. And Dan, maybe you can tell us, how did that happen? How did we get to the six that are here tonight?
So after the first 7 weeks of the program, we had a pitch day right here on stage where we had these incredible VCs from our community come and engage with our founders, providing them with really thoughtful, supportive feedback. From that evening, they had a very difficult choice, picking from the 21 startups and selecting a top 6 that you're going to meet this evening.
So big thanks to them. We also want to give a shout out and welcome to those of you, maybe just the people who are in cohort 2. Anyone here that came out early tonight? Give us a woo. All right, there we go. We got a woo. We got at least a couple out there in the crowd. So we are like incredibly oversubscribed already for cohort 2. We won't tell you how many people we have as approved applicants, but it is impressive, and the demand for this program is growing and growing, and we're training 130 participants, founders this year. Quite frankly, we could have done 200 at some point, but we're doing 130, and we are well away to the races on this.
I think we can let them know that there's been over 100 applicants for the program, so we'll let that slip, and we're very excited to welcome many of them after vetting into our second cohort. So we're very grateful for everyone who not only applied, but also those that referred their peers and their friends, even family, into our program. Thank you.
Now, we couldn't have done any of this without the support of the JCC as our lead partner who helped us to work through all of this with the community. Leading the way has been Andrew Levy, the CEO from JCC and Prosperant JCC. And we're going to welcome him on stage for a few quick remarks.
Over that, 'cause holding grudges over love is ancient artifacts. If I could only find a note to make you understand, I sing it softly in your ear and grab you by the hands. Keep me stuck inside.
Thanks, guys. So I'm going to take you back 10 years, and I want you to imagine where you're sitting right now was actually a big open field, because that's what it looked like. If you were ever at the JCC, if you grew up at the JCC, you went through this evolution of the Big Bathurst JCC and then a big open field. And we stood in that open field and we were talking about what does the future of the Prosperant JCC need to look like. Now, to give you a sense, at that time, the Schwartz-Reisman Center was open for a few years, and it quickly became the town square of the community up in Vaughan. And it was essential for us to bring Jewish life back to this campus in a meaningful way. So the Federation got together and they put together a parlor meeting with 50 of the most influential families in the community. And they turned to me and they said, make your pitch. So for those of you that are here today, I've been there, I get it. And as part of my pitch, I decided that it was really important for me to bring the JCC to them because they couldn't be at the JCC that day. So what people typically see when they walk into a JCC is what they think it is. They see a fitness center, an aquatic center, a daycare, preschool, summer camp. What they don't see until they immerse themselves in it is that we're really a community building engine, a Jewish identity building engine. And only once you're a part of it, you actually get to see that. So I turned to a member of ours who was a teenager at the time, and I asked him to join me for the pitch. And he told his story about how his family came from Sderot. He was involved with our supplementary Jewish schools. He was involved with our summer camps. And the JCC quickly became his second home. I think Honey Sherman of blessed memory was offering him a job on the spot before he left that place. And for me, like, it hit me in that moment that we're inspiring Jewish lives, we're shaping Jewish lives on a daily basis. And shortly after we kicked off the capital campaign, within 2 years, we're in the ground, and shortly after, we've got this incredible building. So why is this story important tonight? We talk a lot at the JCC about creating on-ramps. We engage the greatest cross-section of Jewish life. We're the largest organization that engages the broader community, and we do so at every age and stage of life, except for one. We lose people all the time when they go to university, and we typically see them back again when they put their kids in daycare. That's like a gap that we've never solved. And then I showed up to the launch event, and I saw Yan. Who's Yan? Yan's the teenager I brought with me to do the pitch for the Prosserman JCC. And it hit me immediately that we've just filled one of the most critical on-ramps in our community. And not just from an engagement standpoint in the short term, but from a long-term leadership perspective. So while the SDF funding is going to allow us to stimulate the Ontario economy, and we're extremely grateful for the support of Minister Piccini and Solicitor General Kerzner for helping us bring this to life. It's the byproducts of this program that I'm equally as interested in, which is how we're going to bring together the future leadership of our community. So I want to thank each and every one of you, especially the founders of the first cohort, for believing in the potential of what this can be. I hope you're going to continue to stay involved in the JCC and the Ontario Jewish Startup Network, I'm sure you will, and find ways to contribute to the community and the future leadership of our community. And I want to acknowledge these two guys. I mean, I don't think there's a day that goes by that we're not on WhatsApp throwing ideas back and forth, and it's really about creating a world-class experience. You know, someone once said to me, to be a great chef, you need to eat the best food. So I'm starting to think that to be a great founder, as I'm learning from these guys, you need to be around other great founders. And they've done an incredible job bringing some incredible entrepreneurs and founders to the table. Yuri Levine, Michael Katchen, the incredible mentors that they're bringing into the community. And I think they're cultivating the future founders of our community that are going to come back and continuously build this network for the future. So as we move to the showcase, I want to leave you with this. We at the JCC are here to support your journey. The Jewish community at this time more than ever needs leaders like you. We are grateful for your commitment to strengthen our city, to strengthen our province, and ultimately to strengthen our community. So thank you very much.
Was that your request? It's a great song, classic.
I didn't get my walk.
No, Daniel back there. Daniel, thank you for everything this evening. You and Jared, wherever Jared is, thank you for sewing this all together with our team. So we're on to a really exciting part, which we didn't have last time, because that was a big launch event. We had Yuri, and by the way, Yuri's coming back for the next two cohorts, so there's the plug to sign up, because you get to learn from not only a unicorn founder, but a two-time unicorn founder. So he's coming back in October, so really excited about that. And really briefly, I just wanted to touch on something that Andrew said so eloquently about giving back. So there's an organization in our tech community called the Upside Foundation. And the Upside Foundation is all about giving back. It was created by a number of friends of ours many years ago, and I think that there's like 500 commitments right now. What those commitments look like is a charitable contribution from your equity, specifically your options in your startup, to donate to a cause that you care about, whatever that may be. Back in the day, I chose Sick Kids, led by an amazing leader in our community, Jody Kovitz. And so that was really important to be able to bring that back and to be able to not only create business leaders, but also community leaders. So I'm really, really, really humbled and appreciative of the work that they do, and also that a number of our startups in our current cohort have made commitments to the Upside Foundation of 1% of their equity to a Jewish or Israeli charity they care about. It's all about paying it forward. So right now I want to introduce three really incredible leaders in our tech ecosystem. I've learned a lot from them. I continue to learn a lot from them. And so I'd really like to introduce first and foremost Eva Lau, the co-founder and general partner of Two Small Fish Ventures. Eva is a seasoned entrepreneur turned investor and leads Two Small Fish Ventures, which invests in early stage tech companies. Supported by notable individuals and institutions, the fund uses top creators' expertise to aid its portfolio. Previously, Eva scaled Wattpad's community to millions and co-founded Two Small Fish Ventures with her husband, Alan, to help entrepreneurs succeed. Thank you for being here with us, Eva. Next is Lauren Epstein, venture partner at Storytime Capital. Lauren is a lawyer and MBA, has invested in Canadian companies for over a decade, focusing on seed stage ventures. So founders, go meet her and Eva afterwards. She's an innovation advocate and respected mentor in the Canadian tech ecosystem, and we're very appreciative of all the work that you've done with us, Lauren, and also Neil Grunberg, who's the managing partner. So thank you, Neil, as well. And one of my favorite founders, Marie Chevrier-Schwartz, the CEO and founder at Sampler, entrepreneur residence in many programs, and thankfully now including ours. Excuse me, just flipping over. And so we're really excited to have Marie here with us as well. Marie, Eva, Lauren, thank you for being a part of our night.
All right, so let's give you a little bit of background on what's going to happen now and how the whole process works. Now, you may be wondering, like, how can these, as brilliant as these judges are, how could they possibly assess the company in only a 5-minute pitch? But they've been provided with the decks and the information and the appendices on the companies beforehand. So they've been looking over that and preparing their questions. There's going to be a 5-minute pitch from each of the companies. Then we're going to have 4 minutes of questions from the judges. A judge has been assigned as lead to each one of the companies. And then after that, they have like a 3-minute break where they get down their scores, make their notes, and get ready to, like, form their opinion on where they think the company landed in their scoring track. And that's when Daniel will be reprising his Phil Donahue role.
We'll come up with another example, but sure. I like
and
Phil.
We'll be going down into the crowd. So that's how it's going to work. And with that, we're excited to welcome the first.
Do you want to build some anticipation?
Oh,
I just
yes.
want to touch base on something. It's a $10,000 cash and services prize pack. So not to add pressure on our 6 founders this evening, but you're going to get some immense support. So it's a $10,000 prize on the line. With that in mind, our first founder.
Okay, and I count the founders in on 3, 2, 1.
All right, hello everybody. My name is Josh Guttman. I am the co-founder and CEO of Sell at 9 Pay. Grateful to be here, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about how you can turn your used household items into a new form of currency. So let me tell you a little bit about the problem. My supportive wife here in the audience and myself, we have 3 kids. I'm building a business. She is a software executive. We are very, very busy. But not only that, we accumulate a lot of stuff. Mountains of baby equipment that we no longer need. We have 3 MacBook Air computers that our kids haven't touched since school went back into in-person session. And we're also not alone with this. In fact, the average US household has $2,500 worth of sellable items that are just sitting around their house collecting dust. In fact, that's just electronic goods. But similar to my wife and I, they're busy. We are busy, and selling these items is hard. Lowball offers, prolonged price negotiations, and all of the hassles and challenges that come with traditional marketplaces. But what would we do if we sold these items? It certainly wouldn't be to buy new baby products, and it wouldn't be to upgrade to new Apple products. Especially now that I took my income down to zero to build this business, what we really want to do is buy a flight so we can send our kids to Florida to help them visit their grandparents over the winter holidays. Now, merchants face their own set of challenges. There's increased price sensitivity going on right now, and that's leading to decreased sales. And not only that, there's a big hot topic right now going on in sustainability. But implementing a trade-in program is very, very hard. Now let me tell you a little bit about the market. I'm going to break the market down into 3 categories. So from the perspective of secondhand goods, this is a massive market. It's growing. It's going to be $1 trillion business in no time. From a consumer perspective, 45% of consumers have sold items online in the last year. And then we talk about the state of e-commerce. It's going to be an $8 trillion market, but what's interesting is 72% of folks are beginning to reconsider their online purchases because of the rising cost of goods. So what is the solution? Sell at 9Pay. How can you leverage your used household items as a new form of currency to make new online purchases? So from a consumer perspective, let's think about the perspective of instant valuations, instant liquidity, the ability to make these purchases in a secure and sustainable way. From a merchant's perspective, decreasing price sensitivity of their consumers, increasing purchasing power, increasing sales, and also adding a sustainable trade-in program as simple as clicking a button and adding it to their Shopify app store or Shopify merchant store from the app store. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about how we make money right now. We make money on commissions. 4% comes from the merchant transaction. 7.5% comes from our reseller network. These used items that are used as transactions go to a series of resellers that we've stood up in a partnership network, and they spend 50% of their time searching for items to add value to and resell. They are more than happy to pay 7.5% as a form of commission. Now, think about a flight for $1,000, paying $950 with used household items, $50 on credit card. We make $111 on that transaction, and at scale, this is a real venture scale business. So how do we bring it to market? Well, there's 3 legs of the stool. It's marketing-driven, sales-led, and each aspect reinforces the other. So from a merchant perspective and a reseller perspective, marketing for awareness, B2B partnerships motions for resellers, and B2B sales motions, which is my expertise, for the merchant relationships, at least to start. And then from a consumer perspective, it's co-marketed between the merchants and us. And when it comes to the competition, we're not the first to do this. A company called TipTop brought this something similar to market in the US about a year ago, raised $23 million from Andreessen Horowitz, and they're live on a handful of merchants. But our model is different. They buy all the inventory, very capital intensive, and they sell all that inventory themselves. With our reseller network, we make it very convenient, much more convenient for our consumers to drop their items off. Some even do pickups. We've got local drop-off locations. We also do shipping labels that TipTop does, but we offer a much more convenient way to do it. And we've got the right team to do it. I'm an experienced B2B operator. I've seen companies from public all the way down to seed. I've even been a part of a $200 million exit as a part of the executive team for a Series A company. My incredible co-founder, Oz, here in the audience, he has been a 4-time founder, and he also led all of digital for Scotiabank globally. So he's got that expertise from a banking perspective. We are currently raising $1 million US on a $5 million post-money safe. I'm excited to say that we are 80% subscribed as it stands right now, and we're open to oversubscribing. With that, thank you very much.
All right, you nailed the time right down to the second. Well done. Over
Thank
to
you, Tally.
judges.
Where's Tally?
And we're going to
Big thanks.
start with Eva with the first question.
Okay. My question for you, given that there's already a competition down south, you can say that they're not necessarily winning. Why do you think, other than the network and different things that you have done, that you can literally eat up the whole market and not necessarily be kind of like one of those payment option companies like the Affirm? Why do you think you can be a potential winner take all, kind of like a... solution?
I like the question. So I'll start off by saying that we are definitely playing to win. But I think, as we all know, there's Klarna, Afterpay, all sorts of different payment options. And I'm not sure which one's better. I know that Klarna has 500,000 merchants. I also know that Affirm has about 250,000, but they all have their unique differentiators. We're in it to win. We're confident that we can win. There is room in the market, but we're early. And I think what's ultimately going to be telling is what the customers are going to say. And we're raising the pre-seed to really bring this to market and validate that. But we're playing to win.
Can I jump in?
Hello?
You have me?
I can hear you.
I just actually want to make sure I understand properly. Because when you're under such time pressure, there's a lot to convey. Because you were talking about the problem of selling your used goods, totally get you there. You're talking about price pressure on e-commerce and people wanting to be able to leverage what they have, get you there. Is it that you are connecting someone like me who wants to sell a used laptop with a reseller kind of in the background, and then another merchant so I never see those dollars. Those dollars become credits that I receive at a participating merchant?
The best way to describe it is your items, for you as the consumer experience, which I think is how, to answer the question, you as a consumer, how
The
you experience
perspective I'm adopting, yeah.
it? Okay, so you as a consumer, all that you know, which is part of our technology, is that if you have a used iPhone, our technology will tell you that that used iPhone is worth $200. If you have a used guitar, our technology is going to tell you that that used guitar is going to be worth $300. And so now you can take that used iPhone and that used guitar and apply it towards the outstanding balance for the purchase. So from a $1,000 purchase that you're making, whether it's a flight or maybe something on Best Buy as an example, you're just using those items as a new form of currency. And then you pay $500 on your credit card. Where those items go, we know where they go. All that you do is, based on your location, you will either be surfaced, hey, there's a pickup option to make it easy on you to dispose of the device. Someone will come to pick it up. If we don't have a pickup location within your vicinity, there's a drop-off location, and it goes, and they validate that it's in the condition that you say it's in, and take it, and that's it. But your purchase happens immediately.
So the challenge for you is the critical go-to-market is getting merchants on board, so that when
Precisely.
I go to check out from Best Buy, I have the sell at 9 option, and I go, what's that? Oh wow, I can get rid of my used laptop and get some value for that. But the challenge is that you don't just need the merchants, you also need the resellers and the consumers.
It's a 3 to 4-sided market.
Yeah,
Exactly. So from a reseller
challenge.
perspective, I mean, the saying I like to say is nothing's easy. Nothing that's easy is worth doing. And this is, without question, a hard challenge. Today we have validated 2 legs of that stool. I'd love to tell you more offline.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
This is my time-honored secret for cutting people off in my class as well, too. We just all start clapping, and then everybody knows, and it's more friendly that way, as opposed to being pulled off the stage. Okay, now, Daniel, you're up.
All right, I'm going to hustle over. I'm going to welcome our very first guest, Michael Kerzner. Michael, join me up here. We talk a lot. I think I talk to you more than some old friends, so thank you for your support through this program. Your advocacy on behalf of our community, you hold a very important role. I want to ask you, what does this program mean to you?
Well, Daniel, what it means is the continuity of what the Jewish community and its entrepreneurship has built here in Ontario for a very long time. You have to go back a long time. In my family's case, my grandfather, my mom's dad, was born here in 1905. He became a pharmacist like many Jews of his generation because a lot of them couldn't get into medical school. And along the way, the stories were told. How did Murray Koffler become as amazingly successful? My late uncle Morris Kerzner would tell you that he was the one who helped tutor him for some of his classes that he had to pass in order to generate those nuggets of an idea to become that entrepreneur and see his vision come forward. What it means to me is this, Daniel. It means that the Jewish community has been here a long time. And when we look at what you have done, and by the way, I think the investment of the Ontario government and that Laura Smith and David Piccini and the others who champion this project, thank you. It's proof positive. It's proof positive 100% that the vision, that the ideas, that the drive, that the passion that is going to result from this program will create jobs. They're going to create businesses that will flourish. This is an Ontario at its best with innovation and imagination. I'll tell you, Daniel, it means a lot to me personally, and to be the local MPP here in York Centre and to champion everything good that the Jewish community did for our province. We built our province not for ourselves. The Jewish community built our province for everyone. And that's why, thank you. And that's why, and I've said this before, you know, just as the song goes, you can't stop believing. You can't stop believing in what you have envisioned with ChaiTech and what you've done here, and we're so proud of you.
Thank you.
Minister Kerzner, maybe next time you would like Journey and Don't Stop Believing to be your intro music. Okay. With that, judges, we're ready, and we're ready to go on, and we are going to welcome Tiny Ghost Studios as our second presenter.
Good evening. My name is Zach Gans, and I'm the founder and Chief Strategy Officer at Tiny Ghost Studios. I'm going to start with a story. Once upon a time, there was a young boy who was absolutely glued to his TV, mesmerized when he saw his first fully 3D animated television show, Reboot. Meanwhile, on the other side of the country, my co-founder, Mayumi, that first child was me. On the other side of the country, my co-founder, Mayumi, was skipping her university classes. Not because she didn't want to go and wasn't interested, but because she just couldn't be pulled away from bringing characters to life in her drawings. While Luke, our third founder, by the time he was 4 years old, his doodles were a playground for his imagination. Now, fast forward a number of years later, and the three of us, drawn by our sparks of creativity, are working together at a company called Relish, creating the next generation of storytelling. But when we dug into it, we found out there were some serious problems, and reality sunk in. It cost $5 million and took 5 years to create one book. And we realized that it shouldn't be this complicated, this expensive, or this out of reach. Welcome to Tiny Ghost Studios, where we are gamifying literature and storytelling. Now, in this space, there are two different areas. On one hand, you have ebooks and you have readers online. On the other hand, you have narrative gaming. Now, there's a pull to bring these together across the spectrum. But as I've talked about, it can be very labor intensive. You need specialized knowledge in coding and design and art, and it's also very expensive. This is where Lumatel comes in, our cooperative. There we go. So, Lumatel creates a fully animated, gamified novel. And what that does is it requires no code, no art skills, and you use our free AI-based platform to produce and publish your novel. Now, more specifically, what does that look like? That means you bring your own story to our platform, you enter it in, and the platform automates production. It reduces up to 90% of time in creating one of these stories. The custom AI generates art and gameplay from our own proprietary assets using an ethical AI process that eliminates issues of copyright and infringement. And then you interact with the engine through a GPT-style conversation that guides the process. So you want the character taller, you want him shorter, you just tell it that. And finally, you publish it to the Lumatel platform. This will allow everyone to bring their creative ideas to the world. Now, I talked about it being a free platform, but we do have plans to monetize. We are monetizing on the consumption side primarily. That's through chapter sales and subscription model. We're also looking at partnering with libraries to create content and distribute that. Finally, we're looking at selling author solutions for UGC Marketplace and analytics. Now, getting it out into the marketplace can be tough. We are partnering, however, with 8 New York Times bestsellers to produce the initial content for this product. They have pedigrees from Marvel, Disney, DC, and they've already come on board to help us create them. We look at this and see it as an attainable market by 2030 as over $3 billion, growing across 5 different segments. Now, we're not the first to create these types of properties. We're not the first for UGC, ownership, maintaining ownership, choose your own adventure, or integrated games, but we're the first to bring those together in this unique way. We're raising $2 million on a safe round starting in October. That'll allow us to do our MVP, prototype, and publish our first books. This is our timeline. You can see that we'll be ready by the end of that platform to release the UGC to the market. You've met my founders, but we've also brought on a technical director, a product designer, and a marketing coordinator, along with Daniel Jose Older, who's our narrative director, and he is currently the narrative director on the Star Wars High Republic series of novels, and will bring those experiences with him. Further, we've partnered with Industrial AI to bring their AI experience. Finally, we're an experienced team creating an extensive library of engaging content, bringing democratizing of creativity to the market. Thank you. Look forward to your questions.
I feel like I'm supposed to ask the first question, but it has to go to Eva. She's on your competitive slides. So.
Yep.
Yeah, so this is a space that I know like the back of my hand. So certainly help Wattpad scale from very few users to tens of millions, and then later on, we have over 100 million monthly users, 100 productions in movies, TV shows happening every month, birthed out from our platform. So this type of pitches, I probably hear like 4 or 5 per month. So you can see how crowded this space is. So I'm not gonna, happy to actually take another call, take a call with you and give you all of my insight in a more detail, because I don't think it's fair to give you like a 2-minute, kind of like offhanded comment. I just want you to, think about 2 examples that I want you to put yourself in here. Right now, generative AI is the biggest of the biggest. I personally back a couple of, companies that are at the foundation model. People are at the PhD level who have built AI products since, 10, 15 years ago. So Gen AI, it's completely going to be changing this type of content creation. Mm-hmm. And you, as I said, you're one of them. I've seen many others. So that competition is going to be like crazily intensive. The other company that I want you to think about, who have raised over $1 billion, creating what they call top-notch quality content, they fail practically within a month of launching, and that's called Quilby. So my point that I'm trying to challenge you right now is, why do you think, with the Gen AI background that's in the backdrop right now, even though you have eight professional people working on the content with you, mm-hmm. that you can compete, or not even compete, but just use Quilby as that kind of like lens? Why mm-hmm. do you think you can win in this space?
I think what we're looking at is it's that spectrum. And the spectrum goes from ebooks to narrative games. And I think a lot of people are trying to create a new category in the middle. We're definitely staying on that spectrum and definitely leaning more towards the ebooks. So with that idea, those structured narratives. And the big difference between us and a lot of the generative story content that's being done out there right now is our stories are not AI generated. They're written. And what that means is we're going to be using authors who understand story structure. They understand creativity.
I don't disagree with you, and that's exactly what Quilby has been doing. They got all the brand names. They got $1 billion, of funding to actually build all those content. So all I'm trying to say is that I think it's an interesting space that you want to leverage your skill set and to do it. My point that I want you to be a little bit more aware is that sea of content will be flooding, literally. And how do you get a slice of that market? I think that is actually very important and necessary and in your pitch in order to actually make it a viable business.
Marie, can we get a quick question?
Yeah,
from you?
first off, I want to say, for having been in the shoes of pitching to my competition, it's tough, and you answered really well. So congratulations on that. It's clear you're passionate about the space. I would just focus on that question that's been asked to you and just find that first angle. And one thing that I learned today is you have a really big market. I didn't even know that was a big market. So I think that's really encouraging. So, okay, I guess I don't have a question. I guess I do have a question. So what are you going to take from the feedback that you just got, and what's going to be your next step?
So I think it's going back to the problem. I think going back to the problem is a key thing, and it's something we've been doing. I won't say isn't in this deck, but has actually come out of some conversations with actually some other Wattpad people. So we happen to have a conversation this week with someone else. But what we're looking at is some of the problems that are facing the authors and the breakthrough. So discovery being a huge problem for authors is something that we're investigating right now. Authors are, even someone like Daniel, who is actually a partner in the company, and he talks with us quite often about this. And what he said was, he will put out a book, not the Star Wars books, obviously, because they have their own marketing, but he put out his own book. He's a prolific writer in his own right. And the publisher will take it and give him and then just put the book out. And he is responsible for all of his own social marketing, all of his own appeals. So one of the things that we've been looking at is how do we get ourselves above that space and that marketing. Thank you.
All right, Daniel.
I'm up. I think the answer to what your next step is to call Eva. So that's the answer. Dean Zwick, we really appreciate your partnership in this program. It's been amazing. As a proud Schulich MBA alumni, really enjoyed getting to know you. Obviously, Chris. Tell us a bit about innovation, the programmatic innovation, the Tech MBA, the Schulich Venture Academy, supporting ChaiTech. What does it mean to you, and how does that align with your vision?
Absolutely. So, as the Dean of the Schulich School of Business, I came in the job 4 years ago. The first day of my job, got a call from this man who told me, look, give me an office, give me a title, give me some resource so I can hire support, and I'm going to make all kinds of magic happen. I understood about half of it, but I really needed some magic.
Did he have slides, or did he just pitched?
He had slides, but he doesn't actually need slides. And so we gave him all of that, and then what he's built has been absolutely amazing, an incredible office of innovation entrepreneurship, built an ecosystem of Schulich founders, but more than that, he's actually brought a lot of entrepreneurship training and mindset training into all of our programs, because business schools at the end of the day are fairly traditional. We teach programs so people can get jobs in organizations, not necessarily founders. But his biggest pitch was, no, everybody wants to hire kids that also have a founder's mindset. And so that's why we invested in it. And here we are now here, and we are partnering with an amazing organization like yours, which is exactly what he promised me would happen, and it's just amazing to see. I should add, we are the Schulich School of Business. So for the last 30 years, Seymour Schulich, Judy Schulich, and the Schulich Foundation they have been the greatest supporters of the school, and we are very aware of that. We are very aware that our biggest supporters, our namesake, is an eminent entrepreneur and Jewish Canadian. And so we don't see ourselves just sort of as allies, actually. We see ourselves, and we like to see ourselves anyway, as a really important part of the Jewish community as well. I mean, look at our graduates all over Canada and the world, frankly. It's an incredible Jewish alumni network that we also have created over the years. So a lot of things come together, I think, and to me, this is an amazing culmination of, I think, this partnership. So thanks for having us.
Of course, and to juxtapose that, these days being a Jewish student on campus is very difficult, and we've talked about it with Chris, I've talked about it with alumni and students. I just want to say thank you because Schulich is a safe space to be a Jewish student. I can't say that for most campuses these days, so I just want to say thank you on behalf of me and our community. Thank you, Dean.
All right, time for pitch presentation number 3, and we welcome Elion Med to the stage.
Know what hungry was and go sleep soundly. I know we all have a similar dream. Go in your pocket, pull out your wallet, put it in the air and sing.
Every day for years, I woke up with the same thought. I just want to feel better. This is me at my 30th birthday party. I just started a new career. I'd moved into a beautiful new apartment overlooking the city, looking healthy and happy. I mean, I look like I'm thriving, right? But what if I told you that behind every one of those smiles, I was struggling with something that no one else could see? I was drowning in anxiety, battling panic attacks that made even the simplest tasks feel impossible. Inside, I was unraveling. I knew I couldn't keep living the way that I was. I also knew that I wanted a natural way to manage my anxiety because I did not want to have to deal with the side effects that I knew could come with a lot of prescription drugs. I had read about the anxiety-reducing benefits of cannabis. We have some fans. But when I went to my doctor looking for guidance, I got zero support. So I was forced to navigate this overwhelming world of cannabis on my own. And I didn't know which products would actually help me. And trying to find the right information just felt nearly impossible. Thankfully, after a lot of trial and error, everything began to change. Panic attacks became less frequent. I found myself being able to manage my everyday tasks with ease and with confidence again. Medical cannabis didn't just ease my symptoms, it gave me my life back. I'm Karina. I'm the co-founder of Elion Med, where we are helping people live healthier, happier lives by teaching them about the power of plant medicine. But this isn't just my story. 1 in 3 Canadians will be affected by a mental illness in their lifetime, and many of them are searching for a natural way to manage their health, but they're unable to get the guidance that they're looking for. That's why we created Elion Med. We don't want anyone to have to face this journey alone like I did. So Elion Med empowers people to navigate the world of cannabis with confidence. So if someone is dealing with anxiety or chronic pain or sleep issues, Elion Med helps them pick the right products through our research-backed algorithms. They can see in-depth product information, including potential drug interactions, and they can even book an appointment with a knowledgeable clinician with our integrated virtual clinic. The app offers cannabis education and everything you need all in one place, supporting you from start to finish. Our team has over 50 years of combined cannabis industry experience. All of us are patients first, including our medical advisory board. We know what patients truly need. With our go-to-market strategy, we are uncomplicating cannabis with our fun, educational videos that we distribute throughout social media. We are really building trust with people by making them feel like they're getting advice from their best friend. So, Elion Med is free for clinicians and consumers to use, but there are about 43,000 licensed cannabis producers in Canada and the US who are struggling with very strict marketing regulations. Our platform breaks down those barriers, connecting them with patients and clinicians. So for $1.99 a month, they list their products in our unbiased directory to boost their visibility and their sales. Now, if we are able to capture even just 10% of this market, we have the potential to generate over $10.2 million in annual revenue. And that number will increase significantly when we expand globally. And in the future, we also see a big opportunity to monetize on data analytics that we collect in-app as well. So in our very early stages, we already have over 150 products listed and about 200 consumers and clinicians using our platform. Now, the global cannabis market is growing, and one of our competitors, Genetica, is expanding throughout the US and globally, which just shows how ripe the market is for what we're offering. And we are all about finding ways to collaborate with others and build on this momentum together. So right now, we are seeking $500,000 for a 1-year runway. This will allow us to prepare our platform for US expansion, create a retailer module, which will allow us to capture in-store users as well, and create a patient experience tracking module, which will allow us to capture more of those valuable data analytics as well. So There are millions of people all over the world who are searching for an alternative solution to their health, and medical cannabis can be that solution. There is a massive opportunity for Elion Med to position itself as the go-to trusted source for medical cannabis information and guidance. Because for many, medical cannabis is not just a medicine. It's a way to reclaim their quality of life, to feel like themselves again, and to finally say, I feel better. Thank you. I'd like to invite my co-founder, Patricia, up for questions.
Hello, judges. I'm the other co-founder.
Hello. Thank you. That was a really lovely presentation.
Thank you.
I think probably everyone in this room feels the burden of mental health. So I have a couple of questions, and I apologize because, as some of you may know, I'm a recovering lawyer, so I tend to see the risk in a lot of things. The first place that my mind went is, someone is struggling with their mental health. They go onto the site and they select a product based on, the symptoms that they put in. What work have you done to protect yourselves in terms of legal or regulatory risk of the kind of, I'm going to call them claims that are represented on the website, which could obviously lead you to some trouble?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we did our due diligence, and we had some legal advice when we first launched, and we're very careful about the wording on our app. So we are giving suggestions. We're not giving medical recommendations. We also do, we really do support patients speaking to a clinician. That's why we do have that integrated clinic where you can book a free appointment with a knowledgeable clinician for that type of medical advice. And also we have a section where you can check, possible interactions with other medications. Our whole focus is harm reduction. We're treating it like pharma-grade medication that you should be aware of all of the risks, and we're not saying it's for everybody and it's 100% safe.
So now I'm going to ask the opposite question in some ways to what I just asked, which is, how do you get consumers? You were talking about the social media strategy as sort of the primary go-to-market. There are lots of people talking about cannabis and using cannabis and informational sites, I'll call them. So a part of getting someone to go through the process and buy on the platform is about trust.
Mm-hmm.
How do you prove that you're not snake oil salesman?
Yeah.
Sorry, can you repeat the end of the question?
Like, how do you, so on the one hand, I was saying, you got to be careful because people are going to rely on you. On the other hand, I'm saying, how do you get people to rely on you in a sea of a whole bunch of stuff that much of which is probably untrustworthy?
Right. That's a great question. I think our social media really highlights our, we build trust on being, your best friend and giving advice from personal experience. We have no brand ties, so we don't have any brand preferences. We don't sell the product ourselves either. So we are the facilitator of information and education for our patients, and at the end of the day, they make that selection of what product they purchase, where they purchase it from, but we are that, your best friend. And we do, on our social media, even Karina is a medical cannabis patient herself. So she tries a lot of the products, and we do education. So even if it's not us trying, we are educating about.
Yeah, also the other thing is we don't just talk about what are the effects of all of these different products. A lot of us even just educated on some of the most basic things, like how do you administer a dose of CBD oil, for example, or how do you differentiate one CBD product from another. So we're not necessarily looking to tell people, if you have anxiety, this is the exact product that's going to work for you. We're more about giving suggestions, and because everything that's on our platform is on the medical market, they have to go through a clinician anyway to get that product. So we're also safeguarding that by having the clinician be the middle of that journey as well.
I think you were asking, how are we going to get consumers there?
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes, for sure.
So maybe that would be my question. That was also my question.
Yeah, so we're really pushing our social media. We have some great partnerships as well. We partner with this great nonprofit organization called Educanation that really focuses on harm reduction and education. We're speaking to so many potential partnerships of being partners with educational institutions and so many more things.
Good job.
More on that later.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Amazing presenter.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Daniel, you're up next, and your special guest now is the head of innovation and entrepreneurship at the Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Roy DeVere.
Thanks, Chris. Great job. Roy, thank you for being here with us.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the invitation. It's only my second day in Canada, and it's already a pleasure to speak with such a packed hall. And on a personal note, after what happens in Israel in the last year and the challenges that you have and other Jewish communities have here, it's very moving to see that. So really, a lot of respect and thank you for everyone involved. So now to the official speech. So I'm delighted to be here with all of you tonight. This event celebrates innovation and the incredible power of collaboration within the Jewish community as we come together to support and propel the future of Jewish-led entrepreneurship. As the head of innovation and entrepreneurship at the Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I have had the privilege to witness how entrepreneurship can act as a bridge between cultures, countries, and communities. Israel has become known as the startup nation and the scale-up nation also, just because of our technological, not just because of our technological skills, but also because of the partnership we cultivate around the world. We believe in the power of collaboration, and that belief is reflected in the dynamic community gathered here tonight. The energy and drive that I see in this room reflect that ethos. Jewish entrepreneurs, whether in Israel, Ontario, or anywhere else in the world, are united by a deep-rooted commitment to challenging the status quo and pushing the boundaries of what is possible. I hope and believe that my visit in Canada this week will help understanding where should we focus and what should be done in order to push our economic relations and that they will utilize their enormous potential. And to the startups pitching here tonight, stay resilient, be fearless, and know that every step you take brings us closer to a future defined by Jewish-led innovation. My sincere thanks to the Ontario Jewish Startup Network for hosting this event and for fostering this powerful community of creators, dreamers, and change makers. The future of Jewish innovation is bright, and I'm excited to see where it will take us. Thank you.
And with that, we're presentation number 4, Femunify.
Hello? Oh, there we go. Thank you. Hi. Hello. Okay. We're ready to go? Hi, everyone. I'm Anna Wolfman, founder of Femunify. I spent 13 years in corporate, working across several billion-dollar companies like CIBC, Rogers, EY, and obtained my CPA-CA designation, just enough acronyms to impress the in-laws. During the pandemic, while on maternity leave, I decided to pursue my dream of starting my own business. But despite my experience and ambition, I was drowning. I was completely overwhelmed from wearing all the hats: marketing and sales, operations, tech support, customer support. It was inefficient. But I was bootstrapping, and I couldn't afford to hire the team I desperately needed. And I felt lonely and isolated in the online space. Millions of women entrepreneurs face significant barriers to business growth. 88% generate less than 100K a year. 87% are sole operators with no employees. And women freelancers make 84 cents on the dollar compared to males. The impact They can't afford to hire the expertise needed to grow, leading to slower growth and lower profitability. Femunify was the solution born out of my need. Our value proposition is threefold: a global marketplace for experts, a skill exchange platform where women entrepreneurs leverage their expertise as currency to get the expertise they need, and a supportive community where they can grow their network and upskill. We are enabling women to grow faster collectively. Take Lisa Thompson, a life coach who's been struggling to grow past the 70K mark in her business. She spent 6 months trying to DIY her website and social media with no traction. After joining, she exchanged her life coaching for 10K worth of services from other experts. In 2 months, she's had a business strategy, a completed website and social media that has been generating leads. She landed 4 new clients in a month, generating 20K in revenue. The freelance global market is 1.5 trillion, growing 15% annually. Women-owned businesses have grown by 21% in the last 5 years. And there's 12 to 14 billion in goods and services traded annually through B2B barter, and that grows during times of economic uncertainty and inflation. Our business model today, we've launched with a low-cost membership model, and we've acquired 130 members organically to date. We have a platform that has member profiles, a user-friendly directory, and a community hub. Looking ahead, we'll introduce AI-powered matching recommendations, think Tinder, but for professionals, integrate project management tools like progress tracking, and ultimately introduce a centralized virtual currency, enabling us to go from one-to-one transactions to multi-party transactions, unlocking tremendous flexibility and scalability. And with it, new opportunities for revenue streams like premium memberships and transaction fees. To date, 80% of my acquisitions have come through one source: Facebook groups for female entrepreneurs. I connected deeply with their pain point, shared my journey, shared our member stories, and showcased the value of skill exchanges. Our go-to-market strategy as we scale will build on that foundation. We will leverage PR and content marketing to build awareness, and we will partner with other female business networks to amplify our reach and introduce an affiliate program in order to get a lot more customers. And we're going to grow with community and with a network effect. There are no direct competitors who are offering this unique value proposition in this combination. Traditional barter platforms are geographically limited, and they tend to focus on larger companies, like retailers, for example. So our advantage is our global scale and focusing on female solopreneurs. There are many women-only communities out there, but our advantage, what sets us apart, is our marketplace of experts and our barter focus. And lastly, freelance marketplaces, where we stand apart is we offer the community and the ability to access the skills and services without the financial outlay. This combination is our differentiated value proposition and Femunify's secret sauce. Join the movement and help Femunify grow. I'm seeking advisors and mentors, connections to women's business networks and partnerships with collaborations, and help us spread the word. With your support, we can amplify Femunify's impact and help women entrepreneurs build the businesses of their dreams faster, smarter, together. Thank you.
Lovely to meet you. Building network is my specialty. I even did a master class at Schulich to talk about how to build networks.
Amazing.
So happy to, again, take a 30-minute call with you and share that experience.
Very grateful.
Before I ask you a question, I want to give you a little bit of context and why am I asking this question. When we build Wattpad, a lot of people say, why don't you bring some published writers? You know, they have high quality content, you know, they want to sell more books, you know, come bring them on and you know, kind of not worry about some of these teenage girls thinking about, you know, their love story with a vampire and then share on your platform. So we picked a lane and we figured out that the interest alignment of published writers to young teenage girls writing stories are actually not there. Because the people who wrote professional novels, they want to make money. They don't want to share everything for free. But for people who are aspiring, they just want to write a story and tell a story and have people love the story. So when I look at your ecosystem, I see some potential conflicts will arise. Because battering, in a way, it's like, you are very well educated, you are very smart, but you need help, to kind of grow your business. So you say, you know what, I'm happy to give you some coaching as long as you kind of do something for me. There's not money transaction, but in a way, it's like, for the love of you, you're such a great person, I give you some help, and in return, you get me some help. That kind of intrinsic need is very different than expert here trying to say, you know what, if you really need my help, $50 per hour. So in this context, if you were to pick the go-to-market strategy again, listening to what I've just said, would you have do it differently?
I'm not sure I'm following the question.
So
I
what I'm trying to
apologize.
say is that, right now you're trying to onboard a lot of experts, trying to kind of get them to conduct their business
Yes.
on the platform. But bartering, by definition, a lot of the times, it's just based on empathy, based on the fact that, I want to help you. It's just a genuine act of help. So there's a conflict because people is like, you're not paying me, I'm not helping. But then there are people in the bartering system who actually want to help. Just like the Wattpad early days, people want to publish a book, they want to sell, they don't want to share the story. So that's where the conflict is when it comes to a community dynamics. So my question to you is, now that you know that there's potential conflict in dynamics, would you change or do differently in your go-to-market?
So I think where I could see potential conflict is when we look down the future to introduce a currency system, that starts putting a dollar sign on the exchange, which could take away from some of the willingness of women to support one another. So yes, there's a risk like that when we grow bigger and scale bigger, that could become a little bit more transaction-based. I think today, where we are today, which is not there yet, and it is more of a skill exchange, it's a little bit more fluid in terms of how women support one another. And so they come together as professionals to find their own arrangements of what works. And sometimes it's not always reciprocal. So there's definitely room for different categories where we could say it's a lower chunkable service, like maybe it's just a couple hours of like, I'll offer you a half an hour of a consultation, I'll offer you some mentorship, I'll offer you a referral, where it's more of a collaborative team effort. And then there's bigger services like I will build you a website, I will do your legal terms and conditions, when we're talking about meatier services that women still need access to. And it's no longer just a quick favor, but there's room for that in the market as well, for something that is valued at a much higher price point.
I just want to say I totally see the market. I have tons of mompreneurs in my network that I can't wait to introduce you to. And one of my friends, for example, she's a jewelry designer, and she barters all the time. She'll give a piece of jewelry against the website. So I totally see the market. So good job. The question I want to ask is, what are the drawbacks and what are the benefits of making them a women-specific community?
Right. So the drawbacks is that we lose half the population. I'd say that the big benefit is women tend to have unique needs. Everything from confidence, limiting beliefs, the support that we're looking for, the comfort level. A lot of women and I've seen this in different Facebook groups even, if I'm in a women's only Facebook group or if I'm in a co-ed Facebook group, there's differences in how women show up and the level of confidence. Some women, especially when they're starting out, they want a secure and safe space where they feel connected and they feel supported by other women. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Daniel, you're up with Minister Piccini.
Minister Piccini, thank you for joining us again, and thank you for supporting us with this incredible program. Thank you. It really means a lot. So with programs like ChaiTech and other programs you're supporting through the SDF, can you tell us about how the province is supporting entrepreneurship in Ontario?
Thank you, Daniel, and thank you, everyone. It's wonderful to be here with you this evening. I'm David Piccini, Ontario's Minister of Labour. first of all, big round of applause for Daniel. It's not easy getting Skills Development Fund. The entire team, it is a team effort. Skills Development Fund was designed with a very simple direction in mind. Better jobs with bigger paychecks. It started its origins with Skills Development Fund targeting skilled trades. We have a massive deficit, and we have $190 billion to get it right, because that's our infrastructure commitment just in Ontario alone, not to mention homes, private sector development, automotive, manufacturing. And then we thought, really, I mean, skills development is so much more even than just that. If Ontario is to be a player, if Ontario is to grow, if we're to be competitive, if we are to tackle one of our biggest existential threats right now, which is a declining productivity as a nation, we have to invest in skills training and development. Hence the Skills Development Fund. If you have an idea and you want to train people to channel their entrepreneurship, as you are doing here with this program, this fund is very flexible. We're now in our 5th round. Every round, we do what a good entrepreneur does. And I was here with Uri. I think he said after every round, he went and reflected back upon with his customers how they can improve. We do the same with our Skills Development Fund. After every round, getting feedback on how we can improve. I love to see that it has evolved to now channel entrepreneurship, and to see this showcase. I believe it's your 2nd cohort. This is how we believe we can improve people's skill sets, be it entrepreneurship or be it a young woman who landed here struggling to learn English, who's now a carpenter, level 3. Her daughter said to her the other day, "Mom, carpenter, local 27 here in Toronto. Mom, I'm proud of you for the first time." She's building a better future with a better job, a bigger paycheck, better training, thanks to the Skills Development Fund. And at its core, that's what we're here to do, to empower the next generation of entrepreneurs. Because without entrepreneurship, we will not be a competitive province. And so these sorts of ideas, I wish I had the AI tech-savvy background of Anna here and others whom we've heard from today. But we're supporting entrepreneurship. Creating wealth and success should be celebrated in Ontario more. And we should value it. We should value job creators, wealth creators, and it makes our economy more competitive.
Thank you. You're welcome to sit in on any courses. Yeah, come anytime. I want to say thank you.
You'll have him back for a second question, so save that
Second
question.
question. I got many questions.
Now's time for our next
All
company
right.
to the stage.
I'll see you soon,
But
David.
we'll be back to you soon. Don't worry. Okay. All right. Next up, we have Feet Me.
Good evening. My name is Jordan Wisenberg, and I'm the founder and CEO of Feet, a marketplace that's simplifying music collaborations. So how did this all begin? For the past 8 years, I've actually been a rapper, producer, and a songwriter. This is one of my shows that I played in 2019 in Montreal for 2,500 people. Unfortunately, when COVID hit, artists' biggest source of income, touring, dried up. And more established acts were willing to collaborate with up-and-comers like myself at a price. I tried to leverage this, working with a more established artist. I paid him $5,000 to rap on one of my songs, only for him to block me on Instagram, never return a phone call, and for lack of a better term, leave me shit out of luck. But I do know that features make people listen, and that isn't always the case. More recently, this past summer, I collaborated with Drake's artist Smiley on my single All Facts, and I saw record results. I landed on 15 editorial Spotify, Apple Music, and Amazon playlists, 5 times more than I ever had previously without a feature on one of my songs. I also saw an 1,100% increase in playlist ads, that's personal playlists from users, a 900% increase in saves, and that's with $0 spent on PR. For the paid ads that I did run to market my song, it resulted in a 70% lower cost per click on those songs. So, why is it so difficult? The process today is fragmented. It requires 4 or 5 platforms to facilitate from start to finish, beginning with actually accessing these artists. Most of these transactions begin on Instagram DMs, where they also die. In the event that an artist does see your request and does vet you, they're then going to request 100% of that payment up front through something like PayPal, more often than not friends and family, Cash App, or Venmo. Now, If you do receive that song, after you've paid your hard-earned money up front, you may be waiting around 6, 8, or even 12 months by the time you receive it from them. And when you do, there's still no contracts in place that allow you to release it commercially and have their verses cleared. Feat streamlines and vertically integrates the process. Come to our platform and discover artists to collaborate with, or let our AI-recommended collaborations recommend artists that you should be working with that can result in the greatest commercial success on your completed song. Our payment processing using pre-authorized credit and escrow protects artists on both sides of the transactions, and our legally binding contract templates ensure that the terms to these recordings are met before artists get in the booth and payments are made. So artists love Feat. And on the left side, you can see people that are currently transacting on Instagram DMs, right? They post a story once a week, doing features, hit me money ready, or as Gata said from Lil Dicky's show, for anyone familiar, ain't no money like verse money. And then you can see the solution that we offer on the right side with one simple link. So come on Feat, select hire. In this case, we'll hire myself. I'll do discounts for you guys if you're interested. Fill out a brief project description, set the moods of your collaboration, and also submit that audio file. When the seller accepts, upload payment to our platform. And only once payment has been captured by our platform do we open up messaging between the two acts. Once that feature has been completed, the seller uploads it to the platform, they get paid, the buyer receives their completed song along with the contract. So how big is this market? And I'm sure for a lot of you this might seem kind of foreign, but there's 16 million collaborations annually. And that's estimating that 42% of all songs feature at least one other artist on them. With 112,000 songs being distributed in 2023 daily to Spotify, and current estimates at 375,000 songs daily in 2025, it's becoming increasingly difficult for up-and-coming acts like myself to break through the noise. But tapping into an artist fan base that already exists is one of the best and cost-effective ways to do so. At Feat, we do things differently. We're not focused on studio musicians or engineers to put their finishing touches on your songs. We're focused on real marketing. We're focused on recording contracts. Our service fees, let me touch on our business models. Starting off with service fees. We take a 15 to 20% service fee on all platform transactions. We have 3 different subscription tiers ranging from free to our top of the line, which we call Backstage Access at $49.99 a month, and additional marketing products when it's time to promote your latest release on social media. Our go-to-market strategy consists of feature contests with established acts that will be giving away features on our platform, a unique invite and affiliate marketing program, and conventional marketing channels tapping into my own network, but also streamers and people that typically discuss YouTube promotions when it comes to music on YouTube. I've spoken enough about myself, but I can tell you more about my co-founder and CTO, Jared. He's a full-stack engineer, graduate of U of T, has experience in TypeScript, JavaScript, and Python. He's passionate about music, even more passionate about AI, and he's leading our technical development. We're currently on track with our roadmap to revenue. We've rolled it out to a select amount of creators right now as we continue to iterate based on product feedback, but are hoping for a complete commercial rollout by Q1 2025. We're raising $500,000 to further develop, onboard, and market our product. Thank you.
All right. That's really cool. I did not know anything about this space. So far, have you been able to create a collaboration between 2 strangers?
So two strangers, not with our algorithmic aspects of it, but prior to also starting this product, I was a manager. So as an A&R, working with artists, like that was a part of my job, right? And how can you identify that collaborator that not only is going to make the music better, but also have an impact on that song's exposure and streaming revenues? So to answer your question though, on our platform, no, not yet.
And sorry, just so that I understand, following on that, you're in beta right now?
Yes.
Fully launched?
Yes, beta launch we have 7 established acts that are using the platform. We have 150 artists, more or less, on our waiting list right now that are ready to transact with them. A lot of it has been back and forth from the legal side of things, because when it comes to label artists, they have multiple shareholders of their music, from labels to publishers to managers. So Jared is currently building out those profiles that will allow labels to have the final say whether or not they allow this artist to do the collaboration. which is a benefit to them because right now, songs are being released and labels saying, sorry, we never heard of this, and they're having to issue cease and desist. It's costing them more money and more time and more headaches. So if they can vet the whole process ahead of time, they're happier off for doing so.
So
Better off for doing
help
so.
me with your ICP. Is this more for smaller artists, maybe people who are doing it a little bit as a side hustle, or are you actually trying to also get, I suppose, also or alternatively,
Right.
get bigger artists or even A&R departments of record labels to be using this product?
Absolutely. Moving down the road, there is a SaaS product here, but I'll say that for the time being, I am focused on the independents. That's what I'm passionate about, being an independent artist myself. But our ICP is twofold because the value that we're providing to the Establish Act is making them more money. If they're only eating 17 cents on the dollar for every one of their streams on Spotify, but they can sell a collaboration and make $10,000 in an hour, that revenue model is attractive to them. And at the same time, the value proposition to the independent ICP is, of course, exposure.
And sorry, would you have individuals on the platform who would be both buyers and sellers?
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely. Like take myself, for instance.
And then you were talking about building up the separate platform. Is that also for tracking residuals, that kind of thing?
So we would like to distribute the music that we're making on our platform. The first call I ever had with a VC was with Alan. And he told me if you're creating content on your platform, you should be taking a revenue share from it. So moving down the road, yes, we would like to offer distribution so that we can actually track those royalties and it's not just a contract template and leaving it up to the artist to handle.
I'm looking at the boss.
Got 1 minute left.
I think we're good.
1 minute left, then I'm going to ask this question. I think, a lot of founders, not only you, including a lot of the ones who have pitched today, I think, one of the challenge that they keep saying is like, how do you make money? So revenue all of a sudden become, the center of the discussion. But my point that I want to try to make here is that, if you're in a kind of like a scraping by artists, not a lot of money, to kind of like cough out something to invest in it, you take faith.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think in that dimension, you are a startup, have very little money, 500,000 is not going to get you far along.
Right.
How are you going to solve this chicken and egg problem when it comes to a network when you have no money to spend in marketing and your customer are not willing to pay? How did you kickstart this network?
Are you saying how do we?
Give me a fast answer.
Are you saying how do we attract the supply and demand side of the marketplace, more or less?
Both sides, yes.
So
without spending a dime.
Without spending a dime. Well, I mean, we've already entered into some strategic partnerships with some bigger independent labels that manage a roster of artists. And because we're solving a problem that they're encountering where their artists are running off, making money, they're not seeing a cut of it, they're more than willing to put them on our platform and have us handle those collaborations for them. On the buyer side, I believe that our CAC is somewhere in the range of $4 to $5. No CAC. Sorry?
I'm asking you no CAC. How are you going to do it with no CAC?
How am I going to do it? Can we do a 30-minute call?
What a cliffhanger that was. We'll find out later outside in the networking what the answer to that question is. Dan, you're back with Minister Piccini.
All right, I'm not going to wrap this question, but David, I want to ask you an important question regardless. So as our labor minister, workplaces, unions, they've been a pretty hostile place for Jews since October 7th. And I really appreciate, as I'm sure many people in the audience, seeing you stand up against Fred Hahn and call him out for his anti-Semitism. So thank you. My question for you is, how are we standing up against anti-Semitism? Like the Premier, yourself, Laura, who's here, thank you for being here with us, Laura. We're really proud to have all of you as our provincial government. So maybe you can share a bit about how we're standing up against anti-Semitism and also how we're building relationships with Israel.
Thank you. Thanks, Daniel, for the important question, and honored to serve with a very strong voice for our community, Laura, who's been a phenomenal representative. I don't think when you get elected you plan to be in these sorts of scenarios, and I thought, my role very much I feel is to bring people together, and I get in as a PC elected member, and I pick up the phone and I'll be sitting down with Ontario Federation of Labor or any group. It doesn't matter, because when you're elected, you're here to serve everyone. But I do feel, to be blunt, that has its limits. I refuse to meet with Fred Hahn. That sort of bigotry has no place. And I do worry. As a labor minister, I want to zero in on what I intend to do. At a macro level, labor unions existed when my grandfather came off the boat from Italy with very little. Labor unions existed at that time, and I'm often reflected as someone of Italian descent. He came from Italy. They protected many of those workers who were unable to have a shared voice. And they stood up and protected those workers for their best interests. Today, the sort of unique, what we see today from some of our, in particular, public sector unions, deeply, deeply concerns me, singling out uniquely Israel for unique condemnation, and in particular, glorifying terrorism. I remember vividly September 11th. I remember now, sadly, we all know where we were on October 7th. These are the sorts of things that define, us as a people. We all know where we were that day. But to glorify that and to celebrate it is disgusting and is unbecoming of a leader. So where do we want to go from there? I've been very public, as is the Premier. He should resign and leave his role. He has no place as a leader of Labour. To see their group double down and defend that is despicable in Ontario. I do applaud the national organization for their moves, but will be, and have been communicating with Labour leaders about creating tolerant, welcoming environments for all their members. We have steps in Ontario we can take to ensure that is done. We're going to be working. We have obviously our human rights tribunal, but I recognize that we have to do better because right now it's not safe for Jewish members. And the response that I got from members, just for articulating what I morally and deeply hold as my value sets to that leader, has shown to me that we have to do better in Ontario and across Canada for Labour members. So, going forward, I intend to meet with Labour leaders in the coming weeks and months on ensuring we have publicly accessible information lines for members to report complaints, that they are investigated, and I'm totally willing to take steps needed to move beyond that. And it's a very serious step if someone ever says things like decertification of a union, but it's very serious to me when you're glorifying raping, murder, and burning of human beings, celebrating it as a Labour leader in this province. So nothing is off the table for me when it comes to that, and I do have to say, I know community wants action, but I have to, as an arbiter of the system, and I know it's tough because we want action, but as an arbiter of the system, have to bring the system together to move on this. And what has been very positive, you see other Labour leaders speaking out against this. I've seen many of our private sector, in particular building trades unions, stand up against this. So working with them, we will be taking steps and making sure that we foster a very tolerant, open, and welcoming environment for everybody in this province. And I'm troubled, and honestly, I want to apologize because that's not the case. And as Labour Minister, I recognize I have to do better, and our entire province does, because this can't be the new norm, and I refuse to let it be the new norm in Ontario. So as the arbiter of this system, I will ensure the system is better, working with members of that system on ensuring members know exactly how to report it, ensuring there's a robust system to act upon it, and you can expect more in the future from us on that.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you very much.
All right, bringing us home with the last presentation of the night. Then we go to the fireside. I saw Mike Katchen is in the building. So now we go to Crewscope.
Hi, I'm Calvin, co-founder and CEO of Crewscope. I've spent nearly 20 years in the construction and the industrials industry. Have you ever been stuck in traffic, crawling past a construction site, only to see 5 workers standing around having a chat? So let's step onto that job site. Let's lace up our work boots. Let's arrive to work at 6:30 in the morning, and let's stand around and wait to get told what to do. The boss goes one by one, giving out the job assignments. When he finally gets to me, he says, dig this hole until I come back. On Friday, as I'm getting ready to leave for the weekend, I say, hey, did we have a good week? And he says, well, you got paid for your hours.
All right, thank you for coming.
It's not motivating.
Hi, how are you? Good to see you again. I know.
We're in the midst of a labor crisis. We're missing 500,000 workers, and over 40% will retire by the end of this decade. And it gets worse. Labor productivity in construction has been declining by 1% per year since 1970. Construction firms that focus on the people doing the work will attract and retain the best talent, and they'll get the best out of them. This is the solution to the labor crisis. We spend hundreds of hours on heavy civil construction sites, and we spent time with the best teams. We asked workers, why do you love your job? And what they said to us was that it's meaningful to work towards common goals and to win together as a team. The best site leaders connect work with purpose, they enable their crews to take initiative, and they recognize performance. But even the best say that this is hard to do because all of their planning and communication is still done verbally in the field. They also say that individual discretionary bonuses ruin culture with favoritism. We built Crewscope to be simple site planning software. We motivate and engage crews to be more productive with clear goals, frequent performance feedback, and gamified recognition. We build high-performance teams so we can make all of your crews be like your best. This is how it works. You scan a QR code and you sign up your crew. Every week, we're going to set goals and share them with the entire crew because goals connect work with purpose. As we're working, we're going to update the crew on progress because performance feedback helps us take initiative. When we hit our targets, we're going to pay out shared team rewards that they can redeem in our app for gift cards. We built our program in the field with industry leaders, and these are just some of our paying clients. After demonstrating 10% productivity improvements with Ellis Dawn, along with strong forecast accuracy and improved retention, we signed a 3-year strategic partnership with them that is worth up to $500,000 per year. And the best part is that crews love it. We just surveyed over 100 workers that have been with us for over 3 months, and they say that Crewscope improves focus and motivation. This is a huge underserved segment. Construction is worth over $2 trillion in Canada and the US. We aim to capture 10% of the value we create, and we have paying clients in our 3 beachhead segments: heavy civil infrastructure, high-rise condominium GCs, and mining. There's plenty of technology for industrial and construction firms, but none of it focuses on the people doing the work. We uniquely build high-performance teams with common goals and shared incentives. And Minister Piccini, this is why we're supported by the unions. Our vision is for Crewscope to be the platform for workers to get paid, to get work, and to level up. We're collecting this great per-unit productivity data from our clients, which we're structuring in our patented data structuring model, and we're feeding it into our AI to forecast goals. We want to expand our financial offering for benefits, and we want to help workers develop their skills and talents. We expect to achieve $500,000 ARR by early next year when we're going to raise our seed round. We're raising $2 million to give us 18 months runway. We're going to use that money to expand into the US, develop our current clients, and introduce AI into our product. Join us to unlock human potential on job sites. Thank you.
Hi, Calvin.
Hello.
Great to see you again.
Nice to see you again as well.
First of all, I think this was a really great example of someone who very clearly articulated the problem statement or problem statements
Thank you.
and showed how they're forming a solution to a number of problems in a very linear way. Linear being a good thing in this case. Like from point A to point B, I can see where this is going. I'd love to hear more from you about go-to-market. You're dealing with, you got some great logos, but these are big organizations. How do you get in the door? How do you get through the procurement process? Talk to me about that, because that would be one thing as an investor that I would be concerned about.
This is a top-down executive sale, but it's a people business, so it's about meeting people face-to-face. But we've uniquely architected our solution so that site teams can own and operate this. We don't actually need any of the other architecture in an organization. So one of our clients, Lafarge, we were talking with the plant manager at Dundas. He wanted to give this a try, so we swiped his credit card, and we were live on site within hours. So that's just an example of how we can move very quickly. And because it's such a people business, workers talk with each other. So very quickly, everyone hears about what we've been doing, and they put up their hands and they say, we want this too. So one of the challenges actually that we need to get ahead of, especially with Ellis Dawn, is we need to set expectations of when crews are going to get the opportunity and the privilege to join Crewscope. That's a good problem to have.
So just so I'm clear, are you talking about kind of a PLG motion within construction crews?
I'm not sure
sorry,
PLG.
Too much lingo. Product-led growth. It's a problem that we have in the ecosystem. Too many acronyms. So where you were talking about, someone might hear about this, and I'm not going to use the right term. The head of a crew could swipe their credit card and give this a try on their own, independent of what head office has said.
That's right. They already have budgets for pizza lunches and swag, and they give out gift cards already. So we can take some of that budget, yes. But more than that, we connect rewards to performance. So there's a hard ROI. So we can actually save labor hours, and the program more than pays for itself. So when we're talking about saving 10% productivity, this is transformative. And if we can just take some of that to fund these rewards, then the program is self-sustaining.
And the rewards. So how do you get those?
So the rewards are funded separately by our clients. We hold the cash in trust, and we take care of all the fulfillment with gift card. We have providers, and we handle the fulfillment on our platform.
A couple questions from me. I'm interested when you say you're going to put AI on the platform. What is the AI going to do?
It's going to help us forecast goals. So we're actually capturing very sensitive company data on how they build. So we're developing templates specific to specific types of construction work. So these templates can be used not only to train other crews in how to build and share experience, but now we can predict how the goals are being set. So based on past experience, we've installed 30 panels with a crew of 5 people, but now we have a crew of 10 people, so the goal should be a little bit higher. That's the kind of feedback we can offer.
See, this is the part that I think that you have an opportunity to become kind of like the backbone of workers management, but at the same time not necessarily becoming a kitchen sink of everything, right? Because if we look at the prop tech industry when it comes to construction, there are already many players solving different problems.
Yes.
One of the companies, that the ladies on my side probably knows very well is called Bridget, based out in Waterloo. They basically track defects to be fixed very quickly. Chris, I know. what I'm really trying to ask you here is that workers, incentive is important. How are you going to be able to become the backbone without building out all those things by yourself?
2 sentences for this answer.
We have strategically simplified our software so it's super simple and practical for the people doing the work, and nobody is serving this segment of the population today. Thank you. Thank you.
That was a heck of a two-sentence answer, I think. It deserves a little bit of applause. Now I'm going to welcome one of my students from the Schulich School of Business, Ronak Singhvi. He's going to come to the stage. And we get out your phones, because we're going to have the People's Choice Award. You're going to get to vote. Judges, you're off to the back now. Lisa, take them off to the back. We're going to see when they come back what your choice was versus what the judges decided. So, Ronak.
Hello. Thank you so much, Chris. Hello, everyone. I'm Ronak Singhvi, second-year MBA student at the Schulich School of Business. I'm also working at the Office of Innovation and Entrepreneurship as a program manager, very close with Chris, and I'll be presenting you with the People's Choice Award. So you guys have 60 seconds to quickly scan that QR code and decide who your People's Choice Award winner is for tonight. Time started.
But I take a chance on we, baby, let's take our time. And when the times get rough, there ain't no giving up, 'cause it just feels so right. Don't care what others say, if I got you, I'm straight. You bring my heart to life, yeah. You light me up inside, like the 4th of July. Whenever you're around, I always seem to smile.
Okay, good. So give them 30 seconds.
Okay, last 30 seconds, quickly. Okay. We're going to stop the poll now. We've gotten the results. Any guesses? Anybody would like to take a guess? Who's winning the People's Choice Award? Okay. So, introducing the People's Choice Award winner, Crewscope. Can you please have a huge round of applause? Over to you, Chris.
All right. With that, we're going to welcome Dan back to the stage for the fireside chat. And we're going to have with us our special guest, Mike Katchen. Mike co-founded Wealthsimple, which now holds over 20 billion assets and serves over 3 million Canadians. He has been called an industry mover by the Financial Post, a change agent by Canadian Business Magazine, and one of Toronto's 50 most influential people by Toronto Life. We're really thankful to have him here with us today, and we will share time with him until our judges sneak back in the door and hear the results. Mike, thanks for coming. Dan,
Thanks,
take
Mike.
it away.
Are you going to clap us off? You'll let us know?
I will clap you
Okay,
off.
because I could talk to Mike for an hour. Mike, we're really happy to have you here. I know you're from the community. Incredible founder that has inspired many of us. And there's a long line of questions that I wanted to ask you on this stage, but I've narrowed it down to 10, and we'll see if Chris lets us get through most of them. So I want to ask you, in your early years, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced when you were creating and growing Wealthsimple from vision to reality, and how did you navigate them?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. What an incredible event. I only caught 2 of the presentations, but super impressive to see what folks are building. As you can imagine, we're in the business of trust. We ask people to give us their life savings. It's an enormous ask. And when we got going, next week is our 10-year anniversary, so it's been quite a while.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. I was 24 years old at the time. I'd never worked in financial services. I had no business managing anybody's money. And you can imagine what it was like. I'd go around and tell people we're building this great new service. We're going to make investing, really high quality investing, simpler, more accessible, more human for everybody. And folks would say, that sounds awesome. How many clients do you have? And no one wants the answer to be, well, if you sign up, we'll have one. especially with any new service, but particularly in financial services. And so one of the hardest problems we faced was not only did we have to build the technology because you couldn't do online investing in Canada when we got started, but we also had to overcome this trust barrier of how can you actually convince people to give you their money. And that was a hard thing to do. It's still a hard thing to do. You have to earn it every day.
Absolutely. I know you're a proud Chat graduate, second famous behind Zach Hyman. Tell us a bit about your Jewish background, community involvement, how that influenced you in terms of business, leadership, and company culture at Wealthsimple.
I mean, I grew up in the Jewish day school system. It's funny, I just ran into my, I don't know if you're still there. Yeah, there.
Andrew?
Mr. Levy, as I know him.
Mr. Levy.
Who was my grade 8 or 7 basketball coach, I want to say.
Did you make the team?
Of course I made
Okay,
the team.
good.
Are you
Okay.
kidding me?
Yeah?
He remembers. You see, he
Nice.
taught me about hustle,
There
which
you
is,
go.
I think, a super important ingredient. And I don't know if that's a Jewish, value, but we're going to chalk it up because it's super important, I think, when you're building a business. I remember he used to bribe me that he'd send me out after a huddle. It was like, Mike, if you get this rebound, I'll get you a Diet Coke. And it worked. What did I learn? I learned, the Jewish community is so wonderful in many ways. It is an incredible group that values hard work, that values doing, learning and really pursuing excellence in so many different ways. But it also, I think, has wonderful values. I mean, I remember I grew up, my mom's actually here in the audience. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Karen.
And my mom's mom was a very influential role model in my life. Her father was a rabbi. They moved here from Poland before the war, but had absolutely no money to their name. And she used to tell these stories that just no matter how much you have or how little you have, the only thing that matters in life is a good name. And it's the only thing you take with you. And I remember that value of being a mensch was this thing that just kept getting reinforced all the time as we were kids and growing up, both at home and in the day school system and in the community at large. And I think it's one of the things really represent at Wealthsimple. I was doing this as part of the 10-year anniversary. I've been doing this tour of speaking to long-term tenured Wealthsimple folks across the company. And someone said it really beautifully the other day. They said, Wealthsimple is the only place I've ever worked that combines, American ambition, because we want to win and do something huge and impactful, with Canadian kindness. And
amazing.
They framed it as Canadian kindness, but I think there's a little bit of Menschlichkeit that's built into that too.
Absolutely. It's a very special company looking at from the outside in, and I'm sure you're very proud. How do you take the time to stop and reflect on the growth and all the accomplishments? What does a day in the life of Mike Katchen look like these days?
Well, I don't do that very well. I think it's one of the pros of our culture in some ways is we don't really stop and celebrate whatever we've accomplished. We're always focused on what comes next. And I think that drive is something that is super important. If you want to do something huge and impactful, it takes a long time, and you constantly have to be fighting for whatever the next milestone is. But the downside is we never take a moment to celebrate how far we've come, and could probably do with a few more of those along the way.
Well, on behalf of Andrew, we'll be happy to host your bar mitzvah here when Wealthsimple turns 13. You mentioned rapid growth. You mentioned, I'm not sure that mensch isn't literally scrawled on the wall. You see in a lot of startups what the values are on the wall. But, how did you maintain the growth and the culture and the shared vision and principles and values, at almost a breakneck pace?
I think that's in so many ways the job of a founder, and for us, one of the ways we've tried to do it is through values and culture. And one of the tricks is how do you make values something that don't become a platitude and some nice poster on the wall, but actually something that really is a guardrail for behaviors. And you use them to hire people, you use them to fire people, promote and recognize great behaviors that you want to celebrate. And for us, the way we've done that is we've made values a living thing. We reevaluate on an annual basis if we have the right values. And the questions we ask is, if you're in a meeting, do you actually hear people using this language to make decisions? If the answer is no, it's telling you it's become that platitude. It's not actually serving its purpose to shape behaviors or help the company get to where it's trying to go. So that's one of the things we've tried to do really well, is make values something that become a living part of the organization.
I asked this question of a lot of startup founders who happen to be parents. I believe you have 2 little ones? Three. Mazel tov. Amazing. How do you balance, like as a dad, as a founder, chief executive at a high growth, widely admired company, how do you do it?
I think that everything is trade-off. And so for me, one trade-off I'm not willing to compromise on is time with my family and my kids. And I try to carve out times where that becomes just part of my daily routine and system. So in the mornings, I'm with my kids. I try not to take any meetings before 10. And that gives me a chance to be up in the morning, have breakfast with my kids, get them ready for school. And then I get an hour or two where I'm then able to either exercise or get caught up on email and things like that. And then the day really gets going. And then in the evening, I try my best to be home for that kind of before bedtime routine and dinner with the kids every night. There's a few exceptions. But tonight is an example. I would have been here if not. I was at home putting the kids to sleep and then came here afterwards. And that's often a very normal thing for me to do in the week. I have a lot of events I have to go to. So it's home with the kids and then out at night. And I find that it's not really balanced because it's kind of crazy all the time, but it's what works for me and my family.
Thank you for sharing. As the founder scales, most of our startups are pre-seed stage. Some are at seed. What should they prioritize when they're building their own teams? Like, what do they look for? What did you look for? You had a really incredible vision. I'm familiar with the origin story, and I remember hanging out at the office when I moved back from Chicago. I think I met you there for the first time. So, what do you look for in your employees, let alone your leaders?
I think everybody's got to figure that out for themselves. For us, we had this really clear idea early on of the kind of person we wanted to work with, and we called it a maker-owner, whatever the heck that meant, But for us, it was like we love people who demonstrated ownership and accountability and made stuff. Didn't have to be in engineering. And by made stuff, we meant they took initiative. And the best test for that was, did they have a history of doing weird things? And so an example.
Okay, perfect.
An example I'll give you is the second engineer we ever hired was someone who never graduated from university. And so she had no credentials, but she came into the office one day and told us that her absolute passion in life was fire art. And every year she would go to Burning Man, which is this giant festival in the desert, and she would build these fire art installations. 30-foot tall skee ball machines that if you got a ball in the hole, it would blow fire like 30 feet off the floor.
We need that in
into
Toronto.
the sky. And we hired her on the spot.
Amazing.
Because what it told us is, A, this person has a passion, very peculiar one, but they have figured out how to pursue it. And that requires, creativity, hustle, determination. It is not as if, in school, you know how to be successful. It's almost like the chart of criteria are laid out for you. If you do these tasks in this order, you get great marks, and that is what success is. And so many people get stuck in that train, and they never do anything outside of what is prescribed as the criteria for success are. And we always found that people that showed, they zigged off of the path or zagged or whatever it is, and pursued something with excellence. Was an incredible test of were they a maker-owner. And when you're starting something, folks who have that determination, who have that ability to instigate something new we found to be remarkably helpful.
Thank you for sharing. In the early days of Wealthsimple, what was a major setback that you encountered, and how did you overcome it? A little while?
Which kinds of setbacks?
Pick one. I know. There's a lot. Founders deal with so many different things. It's no day's the same. Is there one that really is etched in your memory? And really keen to know not what it is. That's there's a lot, as you mentioned, but what was your approach to solving it? What frameworks did you use? Who did you lean on to overcome it?
I think the two types of setbacks that come to mind are, fundraising was challenging. No one believed that we could take on the banks. They thought in Canada the banks had a monopoly on trust, and there was just no way that some new upstart could do anything to rattle that. And B, that the Canadian market was too small and irrelevant to be interesting. And so no one really believed in what we were trying to do. And we, as a result, had to do some really wacky things from a financing perspective. We struck a deal with a strategic partner, Power Corp, became our exclusive capital provider for a number of years. It looked very atypical for tech, but was kind of what we had to do to make it work. Taught us a lesson that, like, you know, there's many ways to building a business. And I think a lot of the startup advice that gets out there these days is there is one prescribed path. You go out there, you raise a seed from the usual suspects, and then a few months later you go out and you raise your pre-seed or your seed extension, and then you go do your Series A, and it's this path that's everybody's supposed to go on. But under the hood, very few companies follow that to a T. So I think if I had any advice, it was you got to do what you have to do to build your business, and there's lots of different ways to make that work. So don't lose the hustle and grit to figure out whatever path is right for you. And then the second set of setback comes down to team. I mean, there's just, you know, it's such an intimate experience building a business with people. You lose people along the way because, you know, the company outgrows them, and it's this very difficult balancing act of trying to build this incredible culture, this, you know, group of people that are deeply inspired and committed to the mission, working day and night to will something into existence that, you know, shouldn't exist. And then having to part ways at various points. I've always found the people front to be the hardest moments. And you're with people through these ups and downs. I mean, we've lost people along the way that have, you know, very sadly passed on, and the role you play in their families along the way, and you realize just how important work is to people's livelihoods and lives. And so it's a very intimate experience building a business. And, you know, for me, it's always the human side that has been the hardest to wrap your head around.
We saw 6 amazing pitches tonight. You've probably spoken to hundreds of VCs, I can imagine, over the years. Any advice for them?
I wish I'd caught all of them. I thought the 2 that I saw at the end were excellent. And I thought what stood out to me in particular is it seemed like the 2 founders really knew the markets that they were selling into. I'm someone who really loves when a founder knows the business that they're trying to start. I never really got it when someone was building a business that was B2B SaaS for some market that seemed interesting on paper, but they didn't intimately understand the ins and outs, the customers, and the challenges that they were trying to solve. So if anything, that stood out to me as an awesome, positive sign. You can tell the music one in particular, like very few people I think know that industry. Don't let that dissuade you if you have these, you know, unique insights about the challenges that you're solving. I thought that was really cool.
I appreciate that. I read an interesting quote that said that the best founders reinvent themselves every 2 years. And you've been on quite a journey that, again, we all very much admire. How did you reinvent yourself every few years as the company continued to scale?
I think you have to grow with the needs of the company. So, you know, the very early day, like I said, one of our earliest challenges was how the heck are we going to get people to trust us with their money? How can we sign people up? And my job became signing people up. And so we found that the first reliable channel we discovered for acquiring customers was Lunch and Learns. And if I was the presenter at a Lunch and Learn, I would come and I would bring free lunch with me. I would invite as many people. I'd come into a company, say, come on in. I'll present the 5 simple rules of smart investing. We're big believers in financial literacy. This is just about empowering your teams to be smarter. No matter how many people showed up, I would convert 20% of them into customers.
Very solid.
So if 5 people came, we get 1 customer. If 100 people came, we get 20. And my job for basically 2 years became do as many Lunch and Learns a day as you possibly can. And so it was a very common sight to see me running around downtown Toronto with garbage bags full of lunch, running between meetings like to try and do as many of these as I possibly could. So for 2 years, that's what the company needed of me, and it worked. And so I invested all my time in that. Then we started scaling the team. I became our head of people and recruiting and basically built the organization and the team around that. Then fundraising, you know, today is very, very different. We now have a huge team. It's about 1,300 people in the organization. And my time is just...
We need to clone you. Are any startups working on cloning people? Maybe for cohort 2. That would be helpful. My next question is about like mental health. Like it's a grind, and sometimes it's relentless. Like most of us don't have an off button, and you're always trying to hit that next milestone, as you mentioned, raise that next round. You know, do whatever you can to, you know, keep your board happy, investors happy, what have you. maybe you can share a bit about, advice for managing those critical relationships. Because sometimes founders feel like when someone invests in them, they take that very literally. Like external investors are investing in them, when in reality they're investing in their business. So how do you, manage those relationships effectively so it doesn't become overwhelming and then ultimately detrimental to the business? There's far too many founders end in burnout. I've been there 3 times, and your mom has helped me through it, thankfully. So any advice in that regard?
I'm lucky. My mom is a psychologist by training, and my 2 in-laws are psychiatrists, so I have lots.
You got lots of advice.
Support in my family. I don't know that I have a great answer to that. I mean, it's perspective matters, and finding ways to work on your own, taking care of yourself and your own mental resilience is super important. But you really do become your business, and it's hard to disentangle those things. Some people are better at it than others, and I remember I got advice when I raised one of our larger rounds from a mentor of mine, who saw, it was a young partner at this firm that was investing in us, and he gave me advice that stood out to me because I was so skeptical of it at the time, which was, don't forget your VCs aren't your friends. Your investors aren't your friends. And I think it was just a reminder that there is an important professional separation you put between, your business, the partners around the table, and what you're doing. I think that's easier said than done. And for me, mental health has been this funny thing. I've actually found for myself, the hardest parts have been to manage my own stress have been the times when things are going best. I actually had like an episode where we were raising Canada's, at the time, what was Canada's largest VC round in history. We were growing like crazy. Things, by all accounts, were going incredibly well. And I broke down in such a stress panic. I came down with the shingles. I was in an absolute, I'm a very even-keeled person. I'd never experienced anything like that before. So much so that my wife kicked me out of the house and sent me away for a few days to go and try and regain some perspective and settle back down. So it's funny, mental health. You never know what are the things that are going to set you off, but I think it's super important you do find the ways to take care of yourself and find sufficient professional distance to make it manageable.
I appreciate it very much, Mike. Thank you for being here with us this evening.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.
Okay, Daniel, tell us about the prize package for the champion. Our judges are back. We're going to have them come back on stage, and we'll have Eva announce the winner. But first, Daniel, tell them what they've won.
It's like Price is Right. So the winner this evening is going to receive a $10,000 prize package consisting of $2,500 courtesy of Ready, Set, Go. So thank you, Mark Silver and his team, as well as $5,000 in services from his team as well. They've built the ChaiTech.ca website as well as the Ontario Jewish Startup Network website, which are launching very shortly. So a big thank you to Mark Silver for his support. A big part of the accelerator, again, we mentioned earlier, we take a more holistic approach, and so every one of our participating founders has received a 6-month program to the JCC for their families, as well as mental health support, so really key elements. And we're really proud to share that the JCC has rewarded the top founder for this evening $500 in personal training sessions. Thank you, JCC. And 2 exceptional instructors in the program, Alan Oziel and Roshni Wajasina. They're going to be providing $1,000 each for both branding and legal support. So thank you, Alan and Roshni. As well as Samsung products from our friend Matt, who didn't want to be mentioned, but I wanted to mention you anyways, and thank you. So thank you, Matt.
All right, and with that, we will have the judges come back, and Eva, we will hand you the microphone to talk to us about the winner of the first ever showcase for, you can stand, you can talk, we'll give you a microphone here.
Well, thank you. Thank you, first of all, for the opportunity for us to share our thoughts during the judging exercise with the startups. So first of all, I want to congratulate all the people who participated in the pinch competitions because you all have passed. Passed what? Passed the scrutiny of VCs and and entrepreneurs trying to kind of really push the boundary and check your blind spot. So I think you all of you worth a round of applause for putting yourself out here, taking on the challenge to do what you have just done. So we have a winner. Should I do kind of like a drum roll right now, or?
Yes, please.
All right. And the winner is Crewscope. I just want to say a few things about Crewscope. So while he comes on, I want to kind of like tell how much we love it because it was unanimous. Like we were like, okay, do we go off our top ones? It's like, okay, let's go to the top ones, and all three of us is like, hands down, this one. He clearly stated the problem statements extremely clearly, and he matched his solutions practically to the point. Workers are not necessarily, very motivated, so that's why the reward is for. The site lead are not necessarily kind of like, having a scope, understanding what they're doing. That's what the whole app is all about, and so on and so forth. The management want to know about productivity. Guess what? This app, it's all about one app solving all the stakeholders' issues. So to me, I think he knows this market very, very well. So I think, you deserve this. One more thing about the amazing thing that you have done with the app is what we love about the grassroots approach, meaning that any site lead, without any permission, he can just get the 5 guys that he wants on the app and start using. You probably didn't know about this, but that's how networks start. And that's how you can leverage a network effect in your product to build something enormous. So I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much. Thank you for all your support. Thank you. Well, I take the opportunity to thank the judges and the crowd for the People's Choice. My partner, Eson's in the crowd. He's a tech whiz.
Where is he?
My wife and his wife have been partners with us along this entire journey, and we wouldn't be here without all of your support, so thank you very much. And thank you to ChaiTech. Thank you to this incredible program. We've learned so much. It's been an incredible opportunity, and it's just great to be part of this community. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
With that, we'd like to say some closing thank yous to everyone tonight. So to the partners in the Ontario Jewish Startup Network, thanks to the Schulich School of Business and York University for being there to support this, Dan and all the work that he's done, Andrew and the JCC and the whole team, Dave Brinder as well, amazing people we get to work with. We want to say thank you to the members of the team from the network and from ChaiTech, Lisa, Kelly, Karen, who are behind the scenes doing incredible work to make all of this possible. So they're not on stage, but let's give them a round of applause, please. We want to thank all of our VIPs who are out tonight, our amazing judges who did a wonderful job, all of you for coming out and joining us. And we have a couple quick closing announcements, but first, Dan, a closing thought from you before we go to the announcements.
I had a great time. You?
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. Thank you, all of you, for being here with us this evening. Echoing Chris, we couldn't have done this without our teams. Really appreciate all the politicians being here with us, both from Ontario and from Israel. And to our 3 amazing judges, we hope you'll come back soon. It's really amazing you're here. Thank you.
Okay, 3 quick closing items, and then we'll let you go outside. Number 1, we would love you to go back out there and explore the Startup Alley and meet all the companies. I think that there is someone who has a magic door that they can open for every one of the companies here in the audience tonight. You know a company, you know someone who you could introduce them to help them out.
The term is shidduch in Hebrew, so let's make some shidduchs.
Let's do that. Yeah. Amazing. And then a couple quick announcements. So we have cohort 2 under recruitment. Dan.
Please sign up. We're going to share photos, videos from this evening. Please share them on your socials. Please send them to your parents, cousins, siblings, sons and daughters. Like, we're building a special program to really create the next generation of entrepreneurs in our community. And we're really grateful for all of you being here tonight. And please share the good word.
Now, well, you can plug. Go ahead. So now here's the special late-breaking news that nobody knows yet, but we're really excited to share with you.
This needs a drum roll.
We'll get a drum roll. That we have secured our fireside chat for the next showcase with the next cohort on December 9th, and we're really happy to share with you that it will be none other than Heather Reisman.
So have a great time. I also want to share that if you meet 10 startups, grab their signatures or grab their stamps in your program, you can redeem that on your way out for either Yuri Levine's book, David Premier's book, or Stephen Chaletsky's book. So go meet some startups. Thank you for being here with us tonight, and we'll see everyone in December.
Let's go get a drink.
Take my